Okay, now for the sixth and final fly in the beginning fly tying course. It's a elk hair caddis. You want to make sure you tie lots of these in different colors because fish love these. The caddis fly, only 40% of them hatch in mass, and the rest hatch sporadically throughout the year. So fish are always seeing them, so they never look out of place to a fish. So it's a great pattern where you're just searching and stuff like that. So anyway, let's get started. I've already debarbed the hook and coated a layer of thread on it. And this time I have a feather here, and you can use a neck feather. This is a saddle feather, which comes further back on the back of the chicken where they're kind of longer. And of course it has a pointed tip, so that tells me it's a rooster. And it has kind of a curvature to it, and it has kind of a dull side and a shiny side. Well, you want the dull side up, so or facing towards you, depending on if you tie it on the top or the side of the hook. And I get a little better bite on that. Doesn't want to cooperate today. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to go ahead and tie that in, and then I'm going to wrap the thread right back to the tie-in point, and that completes step one. Step two, I'm going to use the same dubbing as we did in the last fly. This time it's going to be kind of an olive color, okay, but it's the super fine. And the reason for that is this is a dry fly, so we don't want a lot of dubbing to absorb water and make it heavy or anything. And so we put like a very thin coat, and the super fine lets you make a very thin coat right on top the fly. We'll go down here a little further. I can add a little more dubbing here. Just a little more. Okay, and we want to dub to a point that is 1.5 width of the eye of the hook forward, and no further than that, because we need some room for our wing. So there you go. Okay, step three. We've done this before. We're going to palmer our hackle. Okay, and of course, so we want those feathers standing kind of, those barbules from the feathers standing straight up or a little forward. And we're just going to go through and we're going to coat that hook. And this feather I chose so it was just a little longer than the point of the hook, 1.5 times or so. You don't want a real super long one. And then we're going to tie it off at that 1.5 eye lengths away from the end of the fly there. Okay, and I can go ahead and just cut that off. And of course, you noticed I had quite a bit left, so I could actually make 3 or 4 flies out of one feather. That's kind of the nice thing about the saddle hackle. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to trim the top of this feather off to make room for our wings. So that's pretty simple, and that completes step 3. Okay, step 4. Step 4 is a new step for us. This is some elk hair, and it's been bleached. Now, you don't have to use bleached. Some of it calls for tan, brown, different colors, but bleach works I like it because it's easy to see the fly when you have your elk hair bleached. And so I'm going to take a few, just a few pieces of this. You know, if you got too many, you can take some out a little bit later. I'm going to take my scissors, and notice I'm using different pair of scissors. Well, the reason for that is the scissors get dull, and so I don't like to use my really good scissors for cutting hair like that. And then I'm going to take, you can take your bodkin and go through here like this and start pulling out that under fur. But I just have a really fine tooth comb that I run through there a couple of times when it comes to hair, and that cleans out all that under fur for us. Okay, now keeping all of this kind of together like that, I got a little tool here that's called a hair stacker, and I'm going to put put it right in there into the hair stacker. Okay, and then I'm going to give it a couple of wraps right on the base of my vise or on a hard surface somewhere, and then we're going to take this apart like this. And you can see all the tips are kind of lined up real nice and even like. And I'm just going to grab them all like that. Okay, and I'm going to look here, and I've got one where the tip's bent back on itself. Okay, so I'm just going to take, can you see it right here? This one right here, and I'm just going to grab it and pull it out of the group. And a couple more come with it. Pull them out. So now I got my elk hair all nice and lined up, and I'm going to measure it so it goes out even over the top of the bend. I'm going to restack this. If it comes a little crooked on you, it's okay to restack it. Grab it. There we go. Right, even with the bend of the hook, or maybe just a tad short. Okay, and that's step 4. Step 5 is we're going to put it in position and transfer my fingers. And then I'm going to use the pinch method, and I'm going to make sure I pull straight up, and I don't want any of it to run down behind. And I'm going to do the same thing a few times, and you can let that back end of it flare. That's not a big deal. Okay, so now I've got a pretty good set on it. But what I want to do is I want to lift it up. That back of it, I want to put a locking turn or 2 under it. And you can see while we had that 1.5 times the eye there, because we got a lot of stuff. And then I'm going to pull all the, what I call the butt ends down. You know, we're going to pull them back. And we're going to take another couple of turns. Okay, and that wing is locked on there really good. And so that's step 5 complete. Step 6, we're going to trim this excess off right here, and we're going to finish our fly. So what we want to do is, if you look here, we want to trim all of these off at about the same angle as that turned down eye on this hook. And there we go. Simple as that. Clip them off. And we have an extra one hanging out here. And we just want to go ahead and just pull that out of there. You got maybe one, okay right there. Now we're going to go ahead and finish our fly. Simple as that, right on top. Okay, Now I'm going to look on the back side of this fly, and some of it is pulled around there and pulled down to the bottom, so we want to get rid of these extra things right here. Just kind of trim our fly up. Yeah, get it looking good. And take another wrap underneath. And we can go ahead and put, just to tie that thread off, just a little bit more of a whip finish. And there you go. I'd probably take a little bit of head cement and put it right here on the fly, and there you're done. Now you be sure to tie lots of these, because these are like popcorn for fish. I mean, they just love them. So there you go.